Hello guys, welcome back. In this tutorial we're coming to learn how to make use of authentication and how to enable it in PHPRad. I know most of us are true or familiar with all those things, but again, this is basics of PHPRad, so we want to start from scratch before we start building mountains on top. So first thing is to just create a if you have been following this tutorial from tutorial 1, at this point you should be able to know how to create a new project and how to have it running just like this. As you can see, the dashboard is empty, but when you come to one of the tables we've made, we have these records in it because I've come over here and I've added something from there. Alright, so that is not the basic the focus for this tutorial. Our aim is to just learn how to enable this authentication. Let's open it. Let's click on it. The first thing you need to do is you have to select a table where the authentication data will be picked from. Alright, for my own case, I would like to select user. You may create another table. Let me show you. Let's close this, come over to these pages, click here. You may add more tables here and give it the names you want and the fields you want, and you just select it. When you are done, save it and come over here on authentication. Select that table you want. For my own case, I want user, and these are the fields that are necessary. There are 4 fields that are mandatory to have. The number 1 is the username. Again, this username, we are going to use it the same as the email address, but email address is more unique than username, and email address serves more function than just username. Sometimes email address are more sensitive, that when you are building a social web application, you don't want to show the email address to public, but you can simply show the username. Or sometimes you prefer not to show 2 of them, but you want to use the first name. So when you look at all these options we have here, there is no first name or last name, because the PHPRad authentication isn't interested in your first name and your last name and the age and stuff. These are the 4 fields we need to approve authentication. This last one, being profile picture, is not mandatory, is not required, is optional. If you want to enable it, you can enable it. Alright, and again, some people make use of authentication as a different table, and they create another profile for users different table, and again they can go as further as creating another table, and they will call it settings for different purposes. But some people use all this, instead of creating different tables, they bring it together and it becomes just one table. Whenever we open it, we know we want to talk about a particular user. I mean, that is not what this tutorial is all about. Let's go straight to what we came for. Alright, first is the name, and we have to select the name. The second one is the password. You have to choose the password. So when you look at this, it's actually showing us the fields we have in our table. Therefore, whenever you are making a web application that needs to be authenticated, that needs a login system, therefore you have to put this thing into consideration. You have to create a table, and that table will house a field username, or you can call it anything, but you will use that one for username purpose. You need another field for email. You need another field for password. I mean, these 3 is the basic things you need to create. The last one that is compulsory is the ID. But sometimes you may not like to use this ID. You may like to use another ID that you want, maybe ID card, passport, or something. But preferably is better to use this as the primary key, and use that your primary key as the authentication ID. Alright, so if you are doing that, then you don't need to worry much. All you need to do is just to create these 3 particular fields, that is the name, the email address, and the password. You can call the name username, you can call it anything, but it all serves the same function. So let's go straight. As you can see, I've added another field called IMG. Right, so the reason why I add this field called IMG is just to show you how we make use of it. So let's go on and set it up completely. I'm going to select this table. I'm going to select the username. The password, I want this PSD to serve as my password. The ID, I want my primary key ID to be the user ID. The email address, alright, as you can see, we've set these three things, which is the email, password, and name, and followed by the ID. All right, so the next thing is the IMG, the profile picture. Like, you know, there's a field in my table called IMG. I'm going to use it. So the rest of these things is optional. You have to decide. Do you want to enable remember me? Do you want to allow users to get themselves registered? When you turn it off, everything inside here is off, because if users cannot register themselves, there's no need of auto login after registration. There's no need of enable password reset, because you can't even register yourself. You have to come through admin. So when you lost your password, or for some reason or the other, you have to also pass through the admin. All right, so let's enable it. And moving to the right side of it, over here you have to select pages that you don't, it's readable. It says select pages that does not require user authentication. So all these pages already has been logged. So before you access any of this page, you have to log in. So if you don't want any of this page to be logged, so you just need to select it. For my own case, I want to select this one. So all these ones will be locked, but this one won't be. Okay, let's say okay, and let's preview our work. As you can see, we are asked to log in. Let's clean this thing and access the index page. So you can see that's what we have. So what if we want to access this page? Remember this page, user/list. We want to access it to see if it is locked. So we can type user, and just like that, as you can see, it's not locked. Even though we've enabled authentication, but it's not locked. The reason is because we checked it over here not to be locked. All right, so we unlock it and we click OK, and we'll preview it again. And let's type user. As you can see, you need to log in before you access the page again. So that is it, guys. That's how to enable authentication. But there are a few things you can do with authentication. The number one thing you can do is to call in the user name directly without typing something. Let me show you. So let me register. Let me get myself registered. I'm going to call this name user, and the email address will be user@gmail.com. Let's make it user1, because probably we get more users. So the password will 1234. Okay, password again 1234. All right. The role, I want this guy to be admin because he's the first person to register. The IMG, I want to use another picture. Let's use this picture, and the timestamp should be time. Okay, so we submit it. All right, at this point we are cool. Okay, we are cool. But let's come over to our home here, and let's try to access, the person who logged in is user1. That's why we are seeing it here. I'm the one who logged in, and this is the detail of the account. The name is user1, the email address is user1, the role is user1. All right, the ID is number 2. All right, so what if we want to collect, or we want to retrieve data of the user, data of the person who have logged in? Maybe you want to say something to the person. Hello, you call him by name and you say, welcome to our web application. Or you may call, hello, this is your email address, this is your picture, how are you doing? You want to be specific when you are talking to your users. You don't want to type, hello dear, how are you doing? You want to call them by name. Hello user1, good morning. All right, to do that, it's simple when you are coding, because PHPRad has helped us to in a whole lot of ways. Before, you need to create those things as a function, as a global function, kind of extend classes and base code. But now PHPRad made things easy. So let's open a PHP environment, and we've done that already by creating PHP. And just this thing, you've opened it and you close it. So everything inside here is PHP code. All right, we want to echo something. What is that? The user name. It's as simple as that. Just this. And when we preview it, so you can see the username is user1, and that is what we have here. So you can go as far and as saying echo hello, then followed by the name. All right, and you preview it, it's going to come like this. Hello user 1. What if you want to user 1 to be capital letters, or the first word to be capital letter, irrespective of what the user our client or the person using our web application have typed in? You just uppercase the words like this, and you know, it's a function, it's a global function. As you can see, it's blue in color, just to let you that it's a global function. Put it inside a bracket and you preview it. So the U will be capital letters. You can see hello user 1. So that's actually how it works. If you want to access the user photo, it's simple. You can come here and do this thing. You can do something like this. You can say PHP HTML page img, and inside this page img you type in something like user photo, just like that. It's simple, and you give it the width you want. I want it to be 50, you know, kind of square, and that is it. So with this we can access the user picture or user profile picture. Let's see what you can see. The picture is there. When you click on it, it comes like this. You can give this image a link. Maybe you want, when they click on it, you want it to take them to their profile. Okay, to give it a link, I think the link is the second thing to come, or the third thing. So you give it in how many pictures are there? I think it's 1. You don't need to enable multiple pictures, but if you allow users to upload multiple pictures, you can just come over here and type in the number of pictures you allow them to post. So the second thing is the URL followed by the class. So the URL you want is account. Just type account like this, and we can preview it. So when they click, it takes them to the account link. As you can see, that's the link. So we go back. All right, so that is how to access. If you want to access their role, it's simple, but to access their role you have to enable this thing, and we are going to talk about that in our next class. So what else do I want to okay, if you want to access a particular field, you can simply say something like echo get active user in brackets, and inside this get active user you can type in the name of the field you want to access. For my case, I want to access field ID. Okay, so we preview it, and it's going to echo 2, which is 2, as you can see 2 over here. Well, let's do this in the next line. Let's say div, so that we be in, let's get a block display. Okay, we can say x, and oh my god, okay, we can come over here and say PHP. All right, so we can get this thing. Okay, this is equivalent to echo. So whenever I type PHP question mark equal sign, I mean it's the same as typing PHP echo then the rest of the code. So I want to get this, so let's preview it. It's going to be in the next line. Okay, as you can see, the ID, let's view this account. The ID is 2, so we are getting the value of the ID. If you want to get the email, it's simple. It's the same method. Just come inside that function and type in the name of the field you want to get. I want to get email. So that's basically how it works. That's basically how to enable authentication and the rest of it. So as we go on in our next tutorial, I'm going